And welcome back to our live coverage here next to the first practice court where we have the world #1 and defending champion Rafa Nadal preparing for his semi-final battle to come later this afternoon against Juan Martín del Potro, the #3 in the world and 2009 champion. Of course, in the other semi-final following Nadal del Potro, we have the #6 player in the world and two-time U.S. Open champ Novak Djokovic against the #21 seed and 2014 finalist Kei Nishikori. This is the first Grand Slam semi-final with 4 past finalists since the 2012 Australian Open. This is the 3rd straight Grand Slam tournament that Nadal and del Potro will be facing off, with Rafa Nadal leading the all-time head-to-head 11-5 over the 2009 U.S. Open champ del Potro. They most recently faced off in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon. That a 5-set battle with Rafa Nadal winning 6-4 in the 5th. Nadal had a much easier time in the French Open. Nadal, of course, one of the greatest clay quarters in tennis history. He defeated del Potro handily 6-4, 6-1, 6-2 in straight sets. They also faced off in the semis of the U.S. Open last year with Rafa Nadal, after dropping the first set, winning the next 3 to clinch a spot in the final where he eventually won another title. Rafa Nadal, a 17-time Grand Slam champ, looking for #18, looking to continue inching closer to Roger Federer's all-time record of 20. Of course, the greatest of all time discussion has been one of the most impassioned debates in tennis, and Rafa and his very large fan base would certainly love for him to get #18 on the board here at the Open. Rafa Nadal has an outstanding 24-4 career record in Grand Slam semifinals. Of course, he had a nearly 5-hour marathon that finished past 2 in the morning Wednesday against Dominic Thiem, the #9 seed. Both players showing exceptional grit, fight, and will. Rafa Nadal lost the first set 6-love to Dominic Thiem. Thiem, one of the few players to have defeated Nadal multiple times on clay court over the past 2 years. But Rafa Nadal was able to find a way to win the match 7-6 in the 5th. That an iconic, historic, memorable, already one of the great all-time U.S. Open matches. But Nadal, with 2 days of rest now before this semi-final to come, he is looking much fresher than he did yesterday. He elected not to practice here on the grounds the day after that long-lasting match against Dominic Thiem. Nadal was able to somehow maintain his exceptional footwork throughout that match. Both Thiem and Nadal showing excellent racket head speed and acceleration through the ball deep into the wee hours of the morning, and late in the 5th set, just fantastic tennis all around. Nadal trying to use that momentum in this semifinal starting at 4 Eastern time today. Nadal also trying to become the first player to defend his U.S. Open title since Roger Federer, when Federer was on his streak of 5 consecutive U.S. Open titles. Nadal is also trying to defend a Grand Slam title for the first time outside of Roland Garros, where, of course, he's defended 8 times. Juan Martín del Potro, 1-4 in his career in Grand Slam semifinals, is appearing in his 2nd Grand Slam semifinal this season. The only other time he reached 2 Grand Slam semis in the same year was in 2009. The 29-year-old Juan Martín del Potro was attempting to earn his 10th career win over a world #1. That would be the most wins over the #1 player in the world by any man who has not held the top spot himself. Rafa Nadal, 4th all-time in the most Grand Slam semifinals in the Open era, 29 of them. Rafa Nadal now 32 years old. The Spaniard is 45-3 on the season, including 14-1 on hard court. Of course, he won the Masters 1000 in Toronto, handily defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas in that final before electing to withdraw from the Cincinnati Masters 1000 to get an extra week of rest and rehabilitation before coming here to Flushing Meadows. That certainly paid off, but some of the long matches Rafa has had to play here in New York. Nadal was tested early in the tournament against Karen Khachanov, the young, big-serving Russian. Nadal down a set in the break, but again, found a way to win that match, had his knees taped during that match. There were concerns over Nadal's health, but has not had his knees taped since and has seemed to be moving quite well. Nadal, of course, one of the all-time great athletes in the sport. Nadal's been a bit frustrated with himself throughout the tournament, feeling like he hasn't fully had his rhythm, his feel. But he's been working very hard out here on the practice courts, trying to do all he can to continue adjusting to the ever-changing conditions. Here in Flushing Meadows, we've had 20-plus degree temperature swings. We've had significant humidity swings. We've had matches with the roof open, with the roof closed. Even just today, the roof opening and closing this morning as they try and monitor the weather situation and determine what the conditions will be for the matches to come. Of course, starting with the men's doubles final before the men's singles semis. Rafa Nadal on the season with 5 tournament victories. The Masters 1000 in Monte Carlo, where he defeated fellow U.S. Open semifinalist Kei Nishikori. Barcelona, where he defeated Tsitsipas. Masters 1000 in Rome, defeating Sasha Zverev. The French Open, of course, defeating Dominic Thiem, and the Masters 1000 in Toronto. Nadal finished the 2008, 10, 13, and 17 seasons as the world #1. He's been ranked #1 for a total of 188 weeks through the end of the 2018 U.S. Open. He's qualified for the ATP Tour Finals in 14 straight seasons. He's captured 80 career titles, including an unprecedented 11 each at the Masters 1000 Monte Carlo, as well as Barcelona and the French Open. 57 clay court titles and a 92% win percentage on clay court. He's 111-2 in his career in best-of-5 set matches on clay. But of course, he's had quite the career on hard court and here at the U.S. Open as well, a 3-time U.S. Open champion. He was the youngest man in the open air to complete the career Grand Slam. One of 3 men to win a Grand Slam title in his teens, 20s, and 30s, the other being Pete Sampras and Ken Rosewall. Of course, also a multiple-time Olympic medalist is Rafa Nadal. Let us know in the comments all of your picks and predictions for the semifinal matches to come. One of the most exciting days of the tournament on tap for you, and we have star-studded matchups to show for it. Of course, Rafa Nadal continuing his rivalry with Juan Martín del Potro, as well as Novak Djokovic, the 13-time Grand Slam champion. Will he tie Pete Sampras at 14 Grand Slam titles, or will Kei Nishikori reach another U.S. Open final? Nishikori, of course, the 2014 finalist. Anna in the comments wishing Rafa Nadal good luck. Lucy in the comments saying good luck, humble champ. Jeanette in the comments saying come on Rafa. Christine in the comments saying that she's currently in Mallorca, of course, Rafa's homeland, cheering on the world #1. Faye in the comments picking Rafa Nadal to win in this semifinal battle today. Muffin in the comments saying waking up at 4 a.m. to watch the match. Thank you very much. Of course, we love all of our passionate tennis fans all around the world, and you certainly do not want to miss the matches to come later this afternoon. Rafa striking the ball beautifully thus far in practice today. He looks fresh. He looks mentally locked in. He looks physically healthy. You see him continuing to move in between balls. Very few misses for Rafa today as well. You can just see the intensity in his eyes. He wants to play this practice session just like he's going to play the match, with the same focus. Of course, make sure you keep it tuned in with us all day long. After Rafa Nadal, we'll be bringing you Juan Martín del Potro's practice session live as he prepares to face the world number one. We'll also be bringing you Novak Djokovic and Kei Nishikori live, so make sure you stay tuned with us all day long on U.S. Open social media. Joey Brander here with you, of course, throughout the rest of the tournament. That a beautiful backhand from Rafa Nadal. He seems to be a lot more comfortable on the backhand side so far today, not holding back by any means, keeping his incredible racket head speed, as you see on that forehand as well. Jennifer in the comments saying hi from Toronto. Thanks for joining us, Jennifer. Harry rooting for Rafa. Michael cheering him on from Barbados. Lola in Uruguay cheering on Rafa Nadal. Julio in the comments picking Juan Martín del Potro. Ken picking Rafa Nadal all the way. Esther watching from the Philippines. Adriana from Scottsdale, Arizona. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this exciting day 12 of the U.S. Open. A much cooler day today. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Humidity a bit lower as well. We'll keep you monitored on how that progresses throughout the day. The roof is back open as of now. It was closed just about an hour ago, but back open. As of now, we expect it to be open for the matches, but of course, with the way the weather has been changing here in New York, anything is a possibility. Rafa's ball accelerating through the court better than probably any practice that I've seen of his throughout the Open thus far on both wings, both the forehand and backhand side. Rafa doing a good job of rotating through the ball. Just a couple hours to go until the semifinals begin. Juan Martín del Potro expected to be out here in just about a half hour at 1 Eastern. Rafa, of course, hitting once again with his coach Carlos Moya, former world #1, French Open champ, U.S. Open semi-finalist. He certainly knows a thing or two about what it feels like to prepare for such a big match here in the U.S. Open, just like Rafa is attempting to do. You see Moya still hitting a beautiful ball. One of the things to watch for when you're watching Rafa's practice today is when he's been a bit frustrated with himself over the past few days about not having his rhythm or his timing. We've seen an uncharacteristic number of balls in the net from Rafa Nadal, and as we talked about yesterday when we mentioned shifting gears, Rafa hitting a much heavier ball today, clearing the ball with much higher net clearance, and we've seen very few, if any, balls in the net throughout this entire practice session. Rafa locked in, focused, not allowing himself to have any loose balls out there, any unfocused shots. Keeping his competitive tension high out here on the practice court, moving as if it's a match. Rafa now stepping in a little bit more, hitting the ball off the front foot. Rafa Nadal taking a well-deserved breather right now. Temperatures, as we mentioned, much cooler today, but still humid around the grounds. The fans are starting to pack in here around the practice courts. Of course, the Rafa faithful always out in full force cheering on the world #1. All of the stands around each of the first 2 practice courts are filled with fans, catching a close-up glimpse of the 17-time Grand Slam champion as he prepares to try and add number 18 to his storied career. Taking you around the grounds, we have not only the men's doubles final today, but also the wheelchair U.S. Open. We have the junior U.S. Open. Quite a bit of exciting tennis all around the grounds. Over in Arthur Ashe Stadium, the men's doubles final has officially commenced, and the American duo of Mike Bryan and Jack Sock, the #3 seeds. Mike Bryan trying to clinch the all-time record for most men's doubles Grand Slam titles. Trying to win his 2nd consecutive Grand Slam title with Jack Sock. Of course, Mike's twin brother Bob currently out with a hip injury, but Mike Bryan and Jack Sock teamed up at the championships at Wimbledon and took home a Grand Slam title there. They're trying to continue that momentum here and win a U.S. Open as well. They're currently tied with the team of Lucas Kuban and Marcelo Melo at 2 games apiece on serve in the first set. That's a nice acceleration from Rafa as he moves up to the net to take some volleys. Rafa's net play has improved tremendously over the course of his career. Now very comfortable transitioning into the net and finishing points from up there as well. You see the quick footwork for Rafa up there as he keeps his weight moving forward and gets progressively lower as he inches closer and closer towards the net. Show up a nice touch from the world number one. Nadal trying to keep these volleys as deep as possible, aiming behind the service line for each of them. Trying to use them to push his opponent back in the court. Hopefully force them to hit a ball that he can put away. That touch will be important for Rafa in the match today, of course, with a fantastic ball striker like Juan Martín del Potro, a big, tall, strong player like Juan Martín del Potro. It will be important for Rafa Nadal to try and keep the ball either up above the shoulder or down below the knee. A variety will be important for Rafa today as he hits heavy balls kicking up and pushing deep into the court, as well as that biting slice that we've seen from Rafa all season long. Rafa, one of the best at being able to mix it up on the court. Rodrigo in the comments picking Rafa Nadal to win. Eva in the comments cheering for Juan Martín del Potro. Tracy saying, come on, champ, you can do it. Ram saying, Rafa, the best. Rafa certainly one of the greatest players of all time in the sport. He spoke earlier in the tournament about the sports museum that he put together at his academy, where all of his Grand Slam trophies reside, and I'm sure he has a special place ready should he be able to come through at this U.S. Open. Rafa now working on stepping in through the court and driving the ball with a more horizontal swing you see there right across his body, rather than the vertical swing that he hits further deep behind the baseline, that horizontal swing used in the mid-court area. working on his returns now, standing a bit farther back, of course, while Martin Del Potro coming in at 6'6" tall, with such long arms and a high reach, will be cranking big serves all match long. Something for Rafa to get readjusted to. Moya standing a bit inside the baseline to add a little bit extra pop to that serve. Rafa, no trouble on that return, pounding the backhand deep cross court. Rafa Nadal and Juan Martín del Potro have split each of their past two hard court matchups, with Rafa Nadal winning at last year's U.S. Open in the semis in 4 sets, but Juan Martín del Potro defeating Rafa Nadal at the 26 Rio Olympic Games, 7-6 in the third. These two first played back in 2007 in the round of 16 at the Masters 1000 in Miami, with Rafa leaving with a routine 6-love, 6-4 victory. Of course, make sure you keep it locked in with us all day long. Coming up in just about 20 minutes, Juan Martín del Potro, the world number 3 in 2009 U.S. Open champion, will be practicing live. Later in the afternoon, Novak Djokovic and Kei Nishikori. So set your alerts here on U.S. Open social media. Make sure you stay tuned as we bring you all of that and so much more, all the behind-the-scenes coverage that you cannot find anywhere else other than U.S. Open social media. Joey Brander here with you all tournament long. Rafa Nadal working on both backhand return stepping into the court as well as the open stance backhand that you saw just there. Shiam in the comments saying, "Go Rafa, best wishes from Nepal." Thank you for joining us. Gabriel in the comments saying, "Vamos Delpo." Yvonne saying, "Let's go Rafa." Very little sign of emotion, positive or negative, from Rafa Nadal on the practice courts today. He just seems as focused as ever. Rafa Nadal taking a quick seat before coming out and taking a couple serves of his own. He will re-grip his racket first, however. Although the temperatures have cooled quite a bit, we've seen the players sweating quite a bit out here all day. More and more fans keep packing into the stands. Few seats, if any, available here watching the practice courts. Of course, the matches around the grounds just starting to get underway. Rafael Nadal, when he won his first Roland Garros title, was the youngest Grand Slam champion since Michael Chang when he was just 17 years old. Of course, we've seen Michael Chang out among the practice courts throughout the tournament. Chang now working with Kei Nishikori. Nadal first turning pro at the age of just 15. He won his first ATP match in 2002 at just a little over 15 years old. He was the 9th player in the Open era to win a match on the ATP Tour before the age of 16. In 2003, Nadal won a couple of tournaments on the Challenger Tour and finished the year ranked number 49 in the world, winning ATP Newcomer of the Year. Was also the youngest man to reach the third round of Wimbledon since Boris Becker in 1984. Boris Becker, another great champion. He's been out here around the grounds at the Open. Of course, this is the 50th anniversary of the U.S. Open, and so many tennis legends have been chatting with fans and walking around the grounds throughout this fortnight. Rafael Nadal now warming up his serve. Nadal has served well throughout the tournament, but has faced some big servers himself. Michael in the comments saying Rafa is the best. Hope for a win over Del Potro. Daniel in the comments picking Juan Martín Del Potro to win this battle to come today. Let us know all of your picks and predictions in the comments. We want to hear how you think these two fierce semi-final matches will end up this afternoon. And that right there is something that we've seen quite a bit from Rafa all tournament long, not waiting to just grind opponents down as he's done so well throughout his career, but playing more first strike tennis himself. Vivian in the comments saying all the best, my champion. Beautiful footwork from Rafa there, as well as he used a jab step after the serve to get right back in position before reaching that backhand out wide. Nadal showing a beautiful lefty slider serve right there. That ball hooking further and further right. That always a difficult serve for right-handed returners to hit. That ball was such an extreme angle. It's sliding well past this first practice court and onto the second practice court, pulling the returner out wide as the ball continues moving further away from them. That a common advantage on the serve for lefties. Enrique and Marcelo both picking Juan Martín del Potro to upset the world #1 later today, but Maya is not having any of that, picking Rafa to win it all. Rafa Nadal's first U.S. Open came back in 2010 when he defeated Novak Djokovic in the final. Nadal was the #1 seed in that tournament as well, defeated Verdasco, then #8 in the world in the quarters, Mikael Yuzny in the semis before that 4-set affair with Novak Djokovic. Djokovic had a 5-set battle with Roger Federer in the semis that year. Rafa Nadal also defeated Novak Djokovic in the 2013 U.S. Open final. Nadal facing Richard Gasquet in the semis that year. Of course, last year Nadal defeated the big serving South African Kevin Anderson in the final. Following a match just like the one we have today, Rafa Nadal is the #1 seed facing off against Juan Martín del Potro in the semis. The only difference, however, coming into last year's U.S. Open, del Potro was just the #24 seed, still coming back from injury. Of course, del Potro with 4 wrist surgeries in his career. He's fallen out of the rankings. He's missed Grand Slams. But del Potro now back better than ever. His previous career high was #4 in the world, but this season he was able to better that and reach his current ranking of #3 in the world, the #3 seed at this U.S. Open as well. And he's playing some of the best tennis of his career. Del Potro dropping just 1 set thus far in the tournament. That came in the last round when he played the nearly 6'11" American John Isner. Isner taking the first set before del Potro was able to rebound and rally for the victory. We saw that serving and volley tactic from Rafa a couple of times in his match against the Austrian Dominic Thiem. That worked pretty effectively. Nadal dropping his racket head speed just a bit on that backhand, leaving that ball in the net after a big first serve. Let us know in the comments all of your predictions for these semifinal matches today. One of the most exciting days of the tennis season, the U.S. Open semifinals. And as Nadal starts to finish up, Juan Martín del Potro has just set foot on the practice courts. Del Potro taking a quick look at how Rafa's hitting. Can't help but take a quick glimpse at his opponent later this afternoon. The wind a factor today as well. With the new roof on Arthur Ashe Stadium, it remains to really be seen how the circulation will be down by the court, or whether the gusts from outside the stadium will reach down on court level. But at least out here on the practice courts, there's a periodic gust of wind and slight breeze throughout. Putting a little extra pace on those serves. Both Nadal and Del Potro keeping their respective focus as they practice here side by side before playing in just about 3 hours from now next door in Arthur Ashe Stadium. This match means so much to both of them. Nadal, of course, chasing history, inching closer and closer to Roger Federer's all-time slam record. Del Potro trying to get another slam on the board. He has not won a slam since his first Grand Slam title in 2009 here at the Open. Del Potro, one of the most promising young players on tour at that time. He had snapped Roger Federer's unprecedented winning streak here at the Open. But due to some of those debilitating injuries and wrist surgeries, Del Potro has not been able to capture another Grand Slam title, but this chance as good as any for the man they call the Tower of Tandil. Two men practicing side by side, Rafael Nadal and Juan Martín del Potro, mentally and physically preparing for the battle of wills that we will see later this afternoon. The two of them have fought so hard throughout this U.S. Open. They've had ups and downs. They've had iconic performances and disappointing streaks, but throughout it all, they've used their grit and determination to pull through and find a way to reach this U.S. Open semifinal. They're just 2 matches away from holding one of the most important trophies in sports. The sought-after U.S. Open title could be within reach for one of these 2 men in just a couple of days, but first, they stand in each other's way. There is Juan Martín del Potro warming up that big forehand. Del Potro, despite his 6'6" height, so graceful around the court, moves so efficiently. Few wasted steps for Del Potro on the court. And you hear the big applause as Rafael Nadal, the world #1 and defending U.S. Open champion, heads off the court. Shakes hands with his coach Carlos Moya. couple of Grand Slam champions putting their collective experience together to get a game plan ready for this semi-final battle to come. As the two of them take a quick look over to the familiar opponent on the second practice court, Rafael Nadal will head off the court, waving goodbye to his passionate fans. And he'll go into the locker room as focused as ever, ready for Juan Martín. And as Team Rafa heads into the locker room, we're going to take a quick break as well. We'll be right back with more coverage from Juan Martín del Potro. Joey Brander here with you all tournament long. Keep it locked in. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes with the remainder of the Tower of Tandil.